Scorpio soul, listen closely. A funeral ends your past on October 9th. A cycle ends, and a new one begins, not someday, not maybe, but now. You didn't arrive at this message by accident. You were drawn here because something sacred is unfolding. You're standing at the edge of a spiritual threshold, and what you do next matters more than ever. Maybe you've felt it already, an unexplainable heaviness, dreams that whisper in symbols, moments of silence that feel louder than ever. That's not coincidence. That's destiny preparing you for what's coming. This is not just another astrology reading. This is a spiritual transmission, a divine confirmation, a cosmic nudge from the deepest part of your soul. Welcome to Miracle of the Sign, where the wisdom of the stars meets the voice of your Creator. And today, Scorpio, this message is just for you. If you carry Scorpio in your sun, moon, rising, or Venus, this is your appointed time. On October 9th, a spiritual funeral takes place. Something deep within you is being released. This isn't about death in the literal sense. This is about the sacred burial of fear, guilt, limitation, and the version of you that has carried too much for too long. A part of you is being laid to rest, not as a loss, but as a sacred offering. And through that release, a new cycle begins. A cycle written in divine ink. A cycle already coded into the stars. A cycle that speaks of rebirth, justice, and finally receiving what's always been meant for you. Can you feel the shift? Pluto, your ruling planet, aligns with the North Node in Aries, activating your ancestral power and calling you into a role of transformation. This moment is not meant to break you. It's meant to crown you. In the stillness of the soul, God whispers. And right now, He is inviting you to surrender what no longer serves you, so He can make room for what He has prepared for you. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. That's why this message chose you. Before we continue, let me pause and thank you for your presence. Your support through every like, every comment, and every subscription is not just appreciated. It's sacred. It's how we grow this community of light. It's how we continue to share these life-shifting messages. So thank you. Truly. Your energy keeps this space alive. And now, Scorpio, I invite you to take a moment to anchor your readiness. Confirm it in the comments. Say it out loud or whisper it in your heart. I am ready to bury what no longer serves me. I am ready to begin again. If this message already resonates, let me know in the comments below. Your words don't just echo, they activate something real. Stay with me through this journey. What the universe is revealing for you is nothing short of miraculous. Let's begin. Scorpio, imagine standing in a silent room at the edge of dawn, where an old wooden door creaks as it closes and the first streaks of morning light slip through the cracks. That image is not random, it's the living metaphor for what is happening in your life right now. When we speak of a funeral in this reading, we are not speaking about physical death. We are speaking about a sacred burial of what has been weighing on you for years, relationships that have lost their purpose, environments that no longer nurture your growth, or old versions of yourself that have become too small for who you are becoming. It's the act of consciously laying to rest what cannot follow you into the next chapter. This is why the first part of your journey is so potent. It marks the deliberate end of a cycle that your soul has outgrown. Pluto, your ruling planet, is not a gentle teacher. It transforms through pressure, honesty, and depth. Right now, Pluto is aligning with the North Node in Aries, a placement that presses you to step out of the role of victim and into the role of pioneer. This cosmic alignment is like a compass pointing toward your own leadership, your own agency, your own power to decide who you will be from this moment forward. It is not about external approval or being rescued. It is about choosing to release, to stop carrying what is no longer yours, so that your hands are free to receive something new. In this context, the tarot cards Death and Ace of Pentacles are not ominous. They are liberating. Death is the card that clears the ground. The Ace of Pentacles is the seed that is planted in that cleared soil. Together they say, something must end so that something of greater value can take root. This process can feel both relieving and unsettling. Like any true ending, it carries grief, uncertainty, and even fear. Yet those feelings are not signs that you are off path. They are evidence that you are alive, that you care, that you are standing at the threshold of genuine change. By recognizing this, you give yourself permission to experience the full range of your emotions without judgment. In practical terms, this could look like stepping away from a toxic friendship, closing the door on a job that has drained your spirit, or simply choosing not to repeat the inner narrative that tells you you're not enough. These are all funerals of sorts. And every funeral is also a clearing of space for something better. The power of this moment is that it is not happening to you in isolation. The same way the tide pulls at every shore, these energies are part of a larger cosmic rhythm. They are not punishing you, they are preparing you. When you allow yourself to see it this way, the fear begins to soften and is replaced by curiosity. What could grow in the soil of your life if you truly let go of what's finished? What version of yourself might rise from this space of release? I invite you to pause and reflect on that. You don't have to have all the answers yet. You don't have to be perfect at letting go. The first step is simply to acknowledge what is ready to be laid to rest. Write it down. Speak it aloud. And if you feel called, share it in the comments below. When you name what you are burying, you begin to loosen its hold. You create a shared space where others can recognize their own process in yours. In that exchange, something beautiful happens. The burden becomes lighter, and the path forward becomes clearer. This is how you begin the journey of rebirth, by honoring the ending with honesty, dignity, and courage, knowing that the next chapter is already waiting to be written. Scorpio, as you continue walking through this sacred transition, the next threshold you encounter is not just emotional, it's cosmic. The energy surrounding you between October 9th and 13th is no coincidence. It is the universe's way of balancing a scale that has been tilted for far too long. You may have given more than your fair share to relationships, to careers, to family, even to causes that you believed in with your whole heart. And in return, perhaps all you received was silence, delay, or dismissal. But know this, the silence was not absence. It was preparation. And the delay was not rejection. It was redirection. Now, the alignment of the Moon, Mercury, and Venus is unlocking a celestial portal of justice. This is when the soul contracts you entered long ago, many of them unseen and unspoken, begin to shift. The Moon brings deep emotional truth to the surface. Mercury, the messenger, delivers long-awaited news, while Venus gently restores your sense of worth and value. This trio creates an energetic atmosphere where clarity meets compensation. Where what was once hidden is now brought into the light. where the divine ledger is reviewed, and what was yours by spiritual right begins to find its way back to you. This energy echoes through the tarot as well. The Justice card appears not as a punishment to others, but as a promise to you. A reminder that nothing done in love was ever wasted, and nothing taken from you unjustly will remain lost forever. Paired with the Six of Pentacles, we see not just rebalancing, but reward. This card carries the energy of debts being repaid not only in money, but in respect, recognition, and restoration. Something you thought was gone may return. A message, a payment, a long overdue apology. Even if it doesn't come in the exact form you expect, trust that what's being returned is in alignment with what your soul truly needs. You may feel waves of emotion as this unfolds: grief for the time lost, anger for the things that went unacknowledged, or surprise at how quickly life begins to pivot. Let those feelings move through you. They are not setbacks, but signals that you are releasing old emotional contracts. You are no longer required to carry the weight of imbalances you didn't cause. The universe is not blind to what you've endured. In fact, it has been keeping score in ways the human eye cannot perceive. And now, it is time for you to receive, not because you demanded it, but because you have earned it in silence, in patience, in resilience. As this new cycle opens, I invite you to reflect honestly. Where have you given without receiving? What part of your story has gone unheard, unvalidated? This is not about dwelling in pain. It's about acknowledging your part in a greater arc, a journey where justice is not just a concept, but a sacred return. Not everything that returns will look like what you lost. But it will feel like truth, like wholeness, like alignment. Take a deep breath. Ground yourself. And if this message resonates, speak it into being. Comment below and declare it: I am ready to receive what is mine by divine order. Because when you say it, you open space for the universe to move. You're not asking for a favor. You're stepping into a promise that was always meant for you. Let this be the season where justice finds you, not to punish the past, but to empower your future. There are moments when pain doesn't come from something new, but from something old finally surfacing, asking to be witnessed. As Scorpio steps through the doorway of transformation, this next phase reveals itself not through clarity, but through emotional depth. You may find yourself crying for no reason, pulling away from social connection, or feeling like you don't quite belong anywhere. It might feel like you're drifting in between worlds, the one you're leaving behind and the one you haven't yet fully entered. This emotional in-between is not a breakdown. It's a recalibration. It's the space where the soul does its quietest, most sacred healing. In astrology, Scorpio energy doesn't skim the surface, it dives headfirst into the undercurrents of life, refusing to deny the darker shades of experience. So if you're feeling lost, anxious, or inexplicably heavy right now, take a breath. This is not evidence that you're broken. It's a sign that you're honest. You are allowing yourself to feel what many people spend years avoiding. And that willingness is power. Pain, when we allow ourselves to hold it gently, becomes alchemy. It transforms from something we carry to something that carries us, like a candle that lights the next step, even as it melts away. But to reach that transformation, we must be willing to look directly at the feeling, without judgment or urgency to fix it. This is where emotional self-inquiry becomes your ally. One of the most healing things you can do during this time is to write freely, without censoring, without editing, without the pressure to make sense. Let the page hold your truth. Let it receive the confusion, the sadness, the anger, the longing. In doing so, you create space between the emotion and the story. You remind yourself, I am not this feeling, I am the one witnessing it. Alongside that, come back to your breath. Just 3 slow inhales and exhales, visualizing yourself releasing the tension, placing your fear deep into the golden soil beneath your feet. Imagine the earth holding it for you, transforming it into wisdom and grounding. This is not imagination, it's energetic repatterning. You are not just surviving your feelings. You are rewriting your nervous system's memory of how you move through pain. What's happening right now is a kind of emotional detox. All the unspoken sadness, the swallowed grief, the hidden fears, they are surfacing because they are finally ready to be laid down. This is the essence of Scorpio's gift, to bring what was buried into the light, not for drama, but for liberation. You are not falling apart. You are shedding skin. And remember, even in these depths, you are not alone. There are others walking parallel paths, souls who, like you, are ready to feel more deeply, to live more truthfully. If this moment feels overwhelming, speak your experience into the space below. Comment. Share what you're shedding. Not only for yourself but for those who may need to see that they're not alone either. Repeat this to yourself, in whatever language your heart speaks best. I accept the ending. I trust the purpose in every loss. I am held, even when I cannot feel it. Say it like a mantra. Whisper it when you wake. Let it be a quiet promise between you and your soul. This pain is not here to punish you. It's here to carve space for joy, for clarity, for peace. You are not being asked to carry it forever. You're being asked to witness it just long enough to finally let it go. And in that letting go, a new light will rise, this time from within. In this next chapter of your transformation, Scorpio, we enter the space where the unseen speaks louder than words, where symbols, colors, numbers, and dreams become messengers from the soul. When life feels unclear, the universe often communicates not through logic, but through resonance vibrations that reach you through color, through recurring symbols, and through the whispers of dreams. And just like a lighthouse in a dense fog, these subtle signs are here to guide you safely to shore. The colors around you are more than just aesthetics, they are energy codes. When you surround yourself with the hue of deep emerald green, you are not simply choosing a color, you are inviting healing to flow through your emotional body. Green is the frequency of the heart chakra, and its presence reminds you that no wound is too deep for grace to touch. Silver white, on the other hand, is the energy of purification. It clears stagnant attachments, thoughts, and beliefs. It reconnects you to your inner compass and helps restore trust in your own wisdom. And then, there's the power of deep wine red, a bold, grounding color that speaks of boundaries, courage, and sacred self-worth. It doesn't just invite abundance. It commands it. If you find yourself drawn to one of these shades in the days ahead, honor that pull. Wear it. Light a candle in that color. Let it work with you as you walk through this transition. Beyond color, sacred symbols are now rising in your field. You may find yourself repeatedly seeing a bridge, a candle, or even the image of a phoenix in art, in dreams, or in unexpected places. These aren't coincidences. They are invitations. The bridge is a sacred threshold, a message that you are moving from one version of yourself to another, not in chaos, but in quiet ceremony. The candle reminds you that even the smallest light holds authority in darkness. Your intuition is enough. Your inner flame is enough. And the phoenix, this is your birthright, Scorpio. To burn, to be broken, and to return more luminous than ever before. Numerology, too, offers you a coded message. The date September 10, 2025 reduces to the number 1, through the sacred spiral of 9 plus 1 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is equal to 19. The number 9 is the closure, the letting go, the final breath before rebirth. And the number 1 is the genesis point, a new story ready to be lived. This shift is not accidental. It is the spiritual architecture of timing, showing you that nothing ends without also beginning. The closure you're facing is sacred. It's a spiritual gate opening in your favor. And then there are the dreams. Pay close attention, because dreams are not random this week, they are mirrors, sometimes even prophecies. If you've seen a grandmother, an elder woman who has passed, or a child you've never met, those are ancestral visitations. They often come when your soul is ready to receive what your lineage could not complete. If you walk through houses you used to live in, or find yourself standing in dark hallways with locked doors or old keys, these are signs. You are moving through your karmic architecture, being prepared to open doors that have remained closed for generations. You are not just healing yourself. You are completing a story your ancestors didn't get the chance to finish. So I invite you to become curious. Write down your dreams. Ask your soul before you sleep, what am I ready to see? And if anything has been strange, symbolic, or vivid lately, share it below. I'd be honored to help you decode it in the comments. Sometimes the clarity we seek doesn't come from thinking more, but from listening deeper. The answers are already arriving. Your only task now is to be still enough to recognize the signs when they knock. You didn't come this far, Scorpio, just to survive. You came to begin again. This is the moment your entire journey has been leading up to, the quiet culmination of all the endings, the emotional release, the divine justice, and the signs whispered to you in dreams. Now, the path opens wide before you, asking not just who you've been, but who you are ready to become. And in this fifth and final phase, we return to where it all converges: your abundance, your relationships, your health, and your soul's mission. This is where rebirth becomes real, not just poetic. Let's begin with the tangible: money, work, and resources. Right now, the cosmic currents are aligning in your favor for financial flow. This could show up as an unexpected opportunity, a contract you've been waiting on, or a project finally gaining traction. But the universe doesn't just hand abundance, it invites you to co-create it. This is your chance to restructure the way you manage your energy, because money, at its core, is energy in motion. If you've been leaking that energy through impulse spending, undercharging your value, or giving without boundaries, this is the chapter to bring clarity. Start with awareness. Track your inflows and outflows, not with fear, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, is this supporting my future or sustaining my past? Release emotional spending patterns and redirect that power toward your vision. When it comes to love, this season brings a delicate balance. The past may knock at your door: an old connection returning, unfinished conversations, or emotional echoes asking for closure. Meet it with compassion, but also discernment. You've grown. You're no longer required to accept what once felt familiar but was never fulfilling. And if your heart has been calling out for something new, this may be the time. The appearance of the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups signals not just romance, but resonance. A meeting of souls, not egos. A connection that honors the truth of who you are now, not who you were then. Open slowly. Trust wisely. Your physical body is also recalibrating to meet the demands of this new chapter. You may be more sensitive than usual emotionally, energetically, even hormonally. This is a signal, not a setback. Fuel yourself accordingly. Reach for foods that soothe your nervous system: bananas, avocados, complex whole grains. And don't underestimate the power of simple rituals: a slow walk under the morning sky, a quiet space with calming music, or just 5 minutes of intentional silence. These are not luxuries. They are lifelines. Your body is the vessel through which your soul lives its purpose. Treat it with reverence. And speaking of purpose, this is the time to reconnect with what lights you up. You are not here to merely pay bills and wait for weekends. You are here to remember your brilliance, to serve through your gifts, and to live in alignment with something that brings meaning, not just motion. Ask yourself, what am I uniquely designed to contribute? Even if you don't have a full answer, follow the breadcrumbs. Your soul knows. So now I ask you, Scorpio, will you step into this new chapter as the version of yourself you've always known was possible? Or will you continue to carry the weight of a story that no longer serves you? If this message speaks to you, write it below. Declare it. Say, I am ready for my new chapter. Let those words become the spell that opens the next door. And let me know how I can walk alongside you. This is not the end, it's the beginning you were born for. Scorpio, as we gently arrive at the closing breath of this sacred message, let me remind you, October 9th is not about loss. It is not a day to mourn what has ended. It is a divine ceremony, orchestrated by the cosmos, to release inherited burdens, outdated beliefs, and pain that never belonged to you in the first place. This is not your downfall. It is your emergence. This is the moment you take your place as the one who ends the suffering line, who rewrites the narrative, who receives not just healing but inheritance. A funeral only feels like an end when we forget what it truly represents. But you, Scorpio, were never meant to stay in mourning. You are the phoenix, and your ashes were never wasted. Everything you've walked through, the disappointments, the silence, the moments you gave more than you had, was preparation. For what? For this, a life where you don't just survive, but build. A life where love isn't borrowed, but reciprocal. Where wealth is not just financial, but spiritual, emotional, and generational. You are not the victim of your lineage. You are its redeemer. So I invite you to speak this aloud, not as a wish, but as a decree written in the language of your soul. I release what no longer serves me. I embrace my rebirth. I receive the rewards of light. I am the healer of my lineage. Let that statement echo through your being like a bell of truth. You have the authority. You always did. And now I want to ask you, what will you choose to do with the light you've been handed? Will you protect it? Will you share it? Will you walk into the chapter that's been written just for you? Or will you stay standing at a door that's already been closed by grace? The power is yours. If this message has resonated with you, please take a moment to ground that energy in action. Like this video. Subscribe to our channel, Miracle of the Sign, so we can continue walking this sacred path together. And most importantly, I want to hear from you. In the comments, write, 777 I am ready to receive my new destiny. This isn't just a number. It's a frequency. A sign that your soul is awake and willing. Thank you truly for sharing this moment with me. Your presence here is not small. Every time you watch, comment, or share, you amplify this work. You help carry this message to others who need it just as much. You are not alone. And this right here is where your power begins again. Because you, beloved Scorpio, were never meant to just survive the dark. You were chosen to master the light.